senior insider Ken Rosenthal with us covering the ALCS, having some fun. And let's get right to the news first, Ken. Adam says, done deal. Bryan Abreu is going to pitch in this Game 7. Your thoughts and what have you observed and heard out there?
Well, that would be the correct decision, in my opinion. I have not confirmed that. Of course, Adam just reported it, and it seems to me that that is the logical course here. If you go back to the Jay Howell decision in 1988, Bart Giamatti, then the commissioner, the late Bart Giamatti, ruled that there would be a 3-game suspension. He had used pine tar, but he would be eligible for Game 7. He would not want, the commissioner back then, the championship series decided because a player had done something stupid and the rest of his team would suffer. In this case, I would argue that Bryan Abreu didn't necessarily do anything at all stupid. I don't believe the pitch was intentional. So you can ask, why is he getting suspended in the first place? But we are at the point now where he is in appeal. So it would be logical, in my opinion, for this to carry over to next season rather than decide it tonight, potentially. And clearly, Dusty Baker last night was hedging his bets when he used Abreu for 1 inning instead of 2 because he wanted to preserve the possibility of Abreu pitching tonight.
Ken, in 2014, you said that the Braves-Twins was your favorite Game 7 ever. How does this one tonight gonna stack up? I mean,
well, that was 91, 1991. Yeah. That was Jack Morris and John Smoltz, and that was my favorite Game 7 ever. And the reason, Adam, is because of the pitching that night. Morris went 10, if you remember. 10 innings.
I was 6.
And Smoltz was nearly as good. So that was just an all-time classic. Tonight, could it be that kind of game? Absolutely, it could be that kind of game. But we have to see how it plays out. That's the beauty of baseball. As you guys know, we don't know what's going to happen. And the big mystery with this game is Max Scherzer. Will he be sharper than he was in Game 3 when he threw hard and his stuff was good, but his command was off because, of course, he was pitching for the first time in 36 days. So that, to me, is one of the big things here. The other big thing, and the reason this could be a classic like 91 potentially, is Christian Javier, one of the great October pitchers of these times. He's done some amazing things. Ryan Presley told me this guy is the slowest heartbeat in the world. I don't expect him to falter one bit tonight. So if Scherzer is on his game and Javier is on his game, yes, it could be a classic.
Well, the difference is, though, they only go 5 innings. Ken?
That's correct.
It's not like Smoltz and Morris when they were going 9 and 10 innings. Tom Kelly went to take Jack Morris out, and he told him to fuck off. I'm pitching. I don't care what you say, TK. And Jack Morris, became a legend for that for numerous reasons. But, Javier is going to give him 6 at most. Scherzer, if he gets to the 5th, Bruce Bochy will be doing cartwheels. I mean, that's the difference in the game then when you covered Game 7s and now. So it's really a bullpen. It's not only the starters, but who's better bullpen. And right now, man, it's a toss-up between both these bullpens because they've been worked a lot in these 6 games.
AJ, I can't argue about the starters. That's obviously true. But the bullpen edge, I would say –
if you say the Rangers – I was going to say, if you go to the Rangers, that'd be incredible because if you think about their bullpen, the whole year was awful. And now you're going to be like, it's better than the Astros?
AJ, I haven't said anything yet.
I know. I don't want to hear your answer, Ken. Nobody cares.
All right, so don't ask me. I would say the Astros definitely rate the edge if Abreu is available, right? If he's not available, it gets a little dicier. We saw Montero and Stanek kind of struggle last night. They still have a number of good relievers, those 2 included. But Abreu and Presley is what defines them in the late innings. Now, the Rangers, Leclerc, they got a break last night when they got the runs, and then they could not use him in the 9th. That was a good thing. How he will be, who knows? This will be 3rd time in 3 games. He had an off day in there. Chapman, they stayed away from last night. It was quite interesting. Josh Boris has been brilliant, but at some point you wonder if he's going to wear down a little bit. Outside of that, there's not a lot of trust from Bruce Bochy. So I'm not going to say, AJ, that the Rangers bullpen is better, okay?
That's AJ's. AJ's fine with that. He appreciates you saying with your chest. Take us into your life for this Game 7. I know you live in a world that the story's got to come out first. How many stories do you have going up until the 7th inning, and then where you're not writing the narrative, but you're telling different sides? Rangers win, Astros win. How many do you have going on your laptop at one time during the games?
Well, I'm working the television part of it during the game
Oh,
now. So I work for Fox during the game, and that's what I'm devoted to. Now I'm thinking about what I'm writing, yes, and talking with the athletics writers, because we have multiple writers here, 3 here besides me. So that's 4 of us, and we have to divide the angles. And yes, we do debate that as the game goes on. But number 1 is television. I've got to do my job for Fox, do my reports, prepare for the post-game interviews, kind of stay on top of the game, all of that. So if I was writing the game live, Eric, this is really more to your question. If I'm on deadline and writing the game live, then you're going a million miles a minute, and you're trying to put together multiple leads, first paragraphs and beginnings of stories. That's a really hard thing to do. I was never all that good at it. Didn't have to do it that much in my career, but that is an art, and some people who do that are really good at it. Andy McCullough of The Athletic might be the best of it right now.
Ken, I always ask who's your bow tie. I always give you some crap about it because I always appreciate the way you present yourself. Tonight, who are you representing?
AJ, you're going to have to give me a minute.
Hey, I didn't ask the question.
I know, I had him. I said, hold on, give me a minute. I got to check because I haven't even looked yet, guys. I'm going 1 minute at a time here.
Well, how do you decide? Is
Easter seals?
He's got it scheduled,
No,
right?
they're all laid out. They're all
okay.
They're all laid out. We have a schedule, but I don't look until I have to get dressed. So it's Easter seals tonight. And sorry,
Awesome.
Adam, for calling you AJ. That is an insult, and I apologize.
It's not. I mean, my initials are the
Yes,
same.
I am insulted. I agree.
That's okay. Ryan Klesko called me AJ for an entire interview, so don't
Best
worry
moment
about
of
it.
Krautz's life.
True. That's
Best
true.
moment of Krautz's life.
Yep.
All right, Ken, back on track. Let's get to some news. Your thoughts and reactions to what's going on between division rivals / friends / I don't know, problem solvers for each other. San Diego and San Francisco maybe taking Bob Melvin off of the Padres' hands, so that perhaps, I don't know, he could beat them on San Francisco and create more storylines for us.
Problem solving is a good way to put it, Scott, because this would solve problems. Clearly, as we wrote at the end of the year, Dennis Lynn and I in The Athletic, the relationship between Bob Melvin, manager of the Padres, and AJ Preller, the general manager of the Padres, is not good. One player told us it was unfixable. So then for the Padres to come out at the end of the season, for Preller to kind of portray this kumbaya situation was false. It was always going to be false. And the best way out of this relationship would be if Bob Melvin left. The Giants are looking for a manager. Farhan Zaidi knows Melvin from their time together in Oakland. Bob Melvin is from the Bay Area. He is an accomplished, established manager. I imagine he would be a popular choice in San Francisco. And for the Padres, this would enable Preller to hire yet another manager. I believe this would be number 6 since he's become GM, and someone who is more in line with his thinking, because it just wasn't working between him and Melvin. So this is an obvious way out. It is probably the right thing to do for all parties involved, and we'll see if it happens.
I mean, Ken, if only somebody was listening to the show one day when I said that this was going to happen, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy, but it's okay. I mean, Bob Melvin and Farhan, we said, had great relationship back to Oakland, and this seems like the perfect fit. Melvin wants out of San Diego.
I thought it was crazy.
You guys all thought I was crazy, and I was like,
No.
whoa, wait a minute, this is probably going to happen.
I'll add to this, Ken. I thought it was crazy that Bob Melvin was returning. I really did. I mean,
Right.
It's not.
It's only because he's under contract. It was only but I also have heard that there's going to be compensation possibly, like when Lou Piniella went to the Devil Rays back in the day, and there was like Randy Wynn, I think, was traded for Lou Piniella at one point.
Bob Melvin was in a contract too, I believe, with Oakland. Wasn't he in a contract still with Oakland when he went to San Diego?
Yes, that's how he got to San Diego. They let him out. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I don't think that was compensation though.
I don't believe so. I think there was an agreement on all sides. No, there was no compensation there. I'm pretty sure he was under contract. I'm not positive.
Okay. Yeah.
John Farrell? Didn't John Farrell get traded for Yan Gomes?
Yep. No, it wasn't Yan Gomes. I don't remember.
But he
Guys,
got-
I'd have
there
to
was
look this
competition.
stuff
It was
up.
John
Get stuff out of
Gomes.
here.
It was John Gomes.
No, I don't think it was John Gomes either.
But AJ basically just wanted to brag that he thought about this first. But I actually just wanted to add, I would have been surprised. Like,
No,
let's
you almost can't bring Melvin back after the year they had.
Well, okay, so let's say San Francisco kept Gabe Kapler and there wasn't an opening there, Ken. Like, were they really going to run this back again when you're hearing and reporting and people are seeing that those two don't get along? I mean, the manager-GM relationship has to be strong, especially nowadays when there's so much connectivity and really, obviously, front offices run the game.
Scott, I never bought that it was going to work out next year. I never bought that. Now, whether that meant him coming back and them just having this distant kind of relationship, okay, but I never bought this idea that everything was going to be okay in San Diego. And I guess in some ways, Preller had to say what he did. What is he going to say? This isn't working? I get it. At the same time, I thought his comments were a bit over the top about their relationship, how positive it was when the entire baseball industry knew that it wasn't. So you're right. It's fortunate, perhaps, for all parties involved that the Giants do have an opening and that this seemingly is on track to happening. But, yeah, it wouldn't have worked out, in my opinion, at all if Melvin had to stay. All the same problems that existed last year and that kind of erupted last year would have been problems this year.
So what happens in San Diego now? I mean, I've seen Ryan Flaherty, Schilt, who's obviously a veteran, well respected. What happens in San Diego now?
I would expect, Adam, it's one of those two guys, perhaps Flaherty. And the problem with Flaherty is that he's a first-time manager with a veteran club. Now, this can work, and it's worked with others in the game. And I've kind of come around to the idea that first-time managers aren't always a bad thing. I was kind of down on that idea originally because I thought a guy like Ryan Flaherty, and I don't want to pick on him because he's a really smart guy and a good guy, but I thought guys like that weren't coming up through the ranks and were just getting these jobs. I wrote it about Aaron Boone when he got the job. Hey, man, what are his qualifications? Yet Aaron Boone, Yankees fans can say what they want. He's been a successful manager for the Yankees. So in this particular case, when it seems clear to me that A.J. Preller wants someone he can certainly work with better than he did with Bob Melvin, you might even say control better than he did Bob Melvin, a first-time manager, it might make sense. However, with the Padres, Jace Tingler was a first-time manager. Andy Green was a first-time manager. Both of those guys got fired. It didn't work.
Well, Adam, why don't you tell us about Ryan Flaherty? I mean, tell Ken, too. You played with him, right? Is he ready to be a manager? Also, do you think that the Padres need to completely switch things up, or do you bring in a guy that's got familiarity there? And, of course, I'm assuming you can tell me, like, is he tight with Machado, I imagine?
Well, I'm not going to just sit here and just blow the guy unless he's hiring me. But but no,
You could just be his friend.
Are you trying to get hired?
I mean, geez.
No, I'm just saying, like he was groomed for this. He was groomed for managing. His dad is just, the man up in Maine. He's been seeing leadership his entire life, being a quarterback, being a point guard, playing baseball. I mean, he's just, as a player, he was just, you can just see the leadership qualities in him day in and day out. He got along with everybody. He took crap from everybody. He just was a guy. He was somebody you want on your team. He's a sports guy in any sports. Big, just a guy you want. And as a manager, again, that's the top job. But he's been in the thick of it the last couple of years, and especially being a utility player, he's seen from the managerial side moves that have to be made to get him involved in the game and for him to be ready. So he's seen it from both sides of the game, and I just think he's been prepared and groomed to be a manager from his childhood.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. Ryan Flaherty is certainly a guy you can see and envision as a major league manager, and I've been around him quite a bit during his good years with the Orioles and even as a coach with the Padres. I have a lot of respect for Ryan. It's just a tough job coming in first time with a veteran club, and maybe he can succeed at it, maybe not, I don't know, but that's all I'm saying here. So then you would say to me, hey, well, what about Schilt? Is he the answer? Maybe he is the answer in some respects, but it ended badly for him in St. Louis with him fighting with the front office. So I don't know that that's the proper way to go. This is the situation they're in, though. And A.J. Preller has gotten manager after manager after manager, and he's yet to find the guy that he really is good with that can succeed with that franchise over a period of time.
Ken, I've already got breaking news. I'm going to tell this to you now between you and Adam Jones. Flaherty just called me. If he gets the job, he's not hiring Adam Jones, but he's definitely hiring Nick Markakis as one of his coaches, if not his bench coach, because he
That's
hates
his
Adam.
brother-in-law.
Exactly why he has to hire Nick, but he said, Adam, you're out. Nick, in. Thank you.
Adam doesn't want it. He's too expensive. Oh, Adam, you're muted. You're too
Adam muted
expensive, though.
himself.
I'll talk to you. You're too expensive and you don't want to play every day.
Nick will say 2 words to the hitters.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've been around Markakis, he'll say 2 words to the hitters, and it's hi, goodbye. Wow. Yeah, it's,
Go get him. Go get him 3
yeah.
words, Adam.
I didn't say he was going to be the hitting coach. I say he's going to be the bench coach. That way he can just sit over there in the corner and be like, just write stuff down. He doesn't even have to talk. He can just write it down.
Yeah, doodle. That's what I'm sitting over here doing. Just worried about this game.
Ken, what? All right, let's get back on a serious thing. What's your key for tonight for the Astros and or the Rangers? Who needs to step up? Who needs to be the star tonight for either team?
Well, Max for the Rangers would be the first choice, but I'll say Corey Seager. And Corey Seager has not had the best series. He had a great series against Baltimore, not so good in this series. Yet he can turn it on at any time, and he is a threat at any time. So I'll pick him for the Rangers' perspective. For the Astros, how about Kyle Tucker? He is really struggling, and he is one of the best players in the game, has been for a couple of years now. If he can somehow snap out of it, and I'm not sure he can, he is pretty deep in it right now, then that would be a key for them going forward here.
Has the home road thing just been exhausted to the utmost extreme in this series, or it's really real? Yeah, it is.
Astros have
but
not
no one has
scored.
explanations, right? And it's been going on for a month and change for this team. Some of these guys said like there were complaints from the hitters at some point about the batter's eye. Have you heard anything about that?
Yes, and that's a really interesting question. The batter's eye in Texas is significantly larger than the batter's eye in Houston. And in fact, they addressed the batter's eye in Houston about a month ago, made it a little bit bigger or wider. And the hitters here with the Astros think it's definitely a factor. Some of them do. Now, is that an excuse? No, because the other team scored 9 runs last night, right? Playing with the same batter's eye. But it's weird that it's a factor. It's inside their heads a bit. And it's certainly weird that this team, its OPS has gone down every season at home since 2019. The batter's eye was put in 2017. So you would think, well, by now they'd be used to it. But perhaps it is a factor. It doesn't ring true to me. Not when both teams are playing with it. Not when the Astros should be accustomed to it by now. But you guys know better than me, Adam, Eric, AJ, how much of a factor that can be.
Ken. Can you hear that? What? Man, it's gone down since they were banging on trash can.
No. AJ,
I know.
Since 2019.
I know. But here's my thing. Didn't they win a World Series there last year?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up. I mean, I'm sorry. What do you mean?
Shut up. I don't
The
know.
Astros, you won a World Series there. You've been one of the best. You've been one of the best home teams since Minute Maid opened. And then definitely in this run, their home record is crazy good. And then this year, they all of a sudden it goes crap, and they're like, it's the batter's eye's fault. That's what it is. Because we showed it in the DS. They took the Budweiser. Budweiser's got to be pissed because they lost all this ad space, right? And they took it and we're gonna make it
working.
But they say it's only against lefties. But they faced Evaldi last night.
Yeah,
He's right-handed.
go 2 runs.
Right? That Evaldi's like 9-1 his last 10 postseason starts or something stupid. So
right, but you guys, I mean, Ken, these guys like to make the excuses for it. Oh, what's happening? Or, well, do you feel like it's that, or do you feel like people are just peppering them with questions?
These guys.
No, I don't think it's a situation where they're just getting peppered with questions. Actually, they haven't been asked about this all that much. Chandler Rome of our staff, the athletic staff, wrote about it a couple of months ago. And even then, it didn't cause that much of an uproar or anything like that. But it's been an issue. It's something that the players do talk about. And it's a weird thing because AJ's right. They won the World Series last year, and they did pretty well at home. It shouldn't be that big an issue. And it's the kind of thing, too, where it's always the same for both teams. So I can't really attribute it to anything. I can't attribute it to that. I can't attribute it to anything else. But we certainly can say they have not been a very good offensive team at home in this postseason.
What narrative are we supposed to follow here? Okay, like the Astros, the Astros think everybody counted them out, and they're still here at this spot. So it's like, why would you pick against the Astros? Bruce Bochy's been in elimination games. He's 5-0 in elimination games. Which is gonna break here? Which force is gonna hit up against each other and break tonight? Because I'm pretty sure they can't tie. As much as Manfred would love for this to be a tie and figure out a way for everybody to get a trophy, somebody has to win.
Eric, I don't know. I don't often try to predict this sport. You guys know as well as anyone, better than anyone, how difficult it is to predict and how you really just never know on a given night what's going to happen. Bochy is great. Dusty Baker, since joining the Astros, has had an amazing record in the postseason. Those are two immovable forces, right? Max Scherzer, what will he be? Christian Javier, will he be as good as he was in Game 3? Will the Rangers make adjustments after seeing him in Game 3? There's just no way to know. There's just no way to know who will be the hero tonight, who might make a misplay that costs his team a game. The beauty of Game 7 is that it's all on the line. We don't know what's going to happen. And really everything that's come before doesn't necessarily matter. It's like the postseason encapsulated in that regard. I am interested to see Verlander, if he is available tonight, 2 days rest out of the bullpen, if they don't have Abreu. There are a lot of things in play here.
Have you heard anything? You hit on a little bit, like a cartwheels. AJ said do cartwheels if Scherzer gets to the fifth inning. Have they said, hey, we're looking at this? Or has Bochy said, hey, he's got the game. I'll let you know when it happens?
It's the latter, and they're not going to put any set limit on it. They don't have to, Eric, in terms of pitch count. It seems like he is ready to go. He threw, 73 the last game? I can't remember exactly. But he should be okay for 80, 90 tonight. It's really a question of how he's doing and watching the game and judging him that way, not by any set limit or pregame script. It's not going to be like that. It rarely is for Bochy, actually. He is someone who actually pays attention and makes his decisions accordingly. How about that?
What a concept.
Oh, what a new thing to try.
Yeah.
Burned by Ken.
Ken, I don't know if I'm sure you're aware of this, but do you know whose birthday it is today?
I'm not aware of it, AJ. Is it your birthday?
Really?
No, this
No,
one's relevant.
this one's
This
very
is actually
my birthday.
relevant.
If you wouldn't send me a present, I would be very disappointed in you. But it's your partner's birthday today, Mr. Verducci. So I'm expecting somewhere on the air tonight, you, Smoltz, Joe Davis, maybe you can get Pete Macheska, the producer, maybe you can get Gangle, the director. I don't know.
Dusty.
Get Dusty to do it in between innings.
In the dugout for the in-game.
I mean, maybe we can get a happy birthday on the air tonight.
AJ, it's Game 7. I don't think that Tom would want to be told happy birthday on the air. We're kind of locked in on the game.
Even
Don't you think
pregame,
that's the
though?
way to go?
You know what you should do? You should do one of those in-game interviews in the dugout and have Joe Davis be like, we're throwing it down to Ken Rosenthal for a special guest on his birthday, and you could sing him happy birthday. That'd be perfect.
That is no chance.
AJ, I am sure the viewing audience would love every second of that.
Yeah,
Well, there'd be
exactly.
one person that would love it.
Text Poppy.
Put me
Poppy
down,
is
too.
the Game crew. You text.
I'll
him.
text
Poppy,
I'll
that's
text-
where
Poppy's
you
a
do
good
it.
candidate for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll text Barty and tell him to have him do it.
That's where you do it. Okay, let him focus on the game. All right, you're off the hot seat.
Ken's like, gosh, this was awful today.